Hello everyone. Today we are looking at Loretta Pettway. She is one of the many quilt makers of Gee's Bend, if you've heard of it. These absolutely stunning quilts made out of necessity, really. They're all hand sewn. And in quilt making, usually you will quilt by hand. You'll sew with a machine, iron it out, and then the final layer is either quilted by a quilting machine to get all of the layers together, or quilted by hand. But in the case of Gee's Bend, every part of production was done by hand. Now, I'm not sure if Gee's Bend, if they're still making these quilts. I imagine so, but I don't have those facts on me at the moment. I can't even remember where I first saw these. I believe it must have been in Chicago, one of the many art exhibits in Chicago. So, Loretta, there's a quote, sort of, well, several paragraphs from her. She said, "I didn't like to sew, didn't want to. I had a handicapped brother, and I had to struggle." Let's see, I had a lot of work to do. Feed hogs, work in the field. Take care of my handicapped brother. Had to go to the field. Had to walk about 50 miles in the field every day. Lots of struggles. Let's see. Get home too tired to do no sewing. My grandmama, Prissy Pettway, told me, "You better make quilts. You going to need them." I said, "I ain't going to need no quilts." All right, well, I feel really weird reading this, but it gives you an indication of what that life was like for her. And she was instructed by her grandmother that she really did need to make quilts. They're very functional. You need them for the winter. These would be scraps from clothes, rags that were, clothes that didn't fit any longer. Pieces of other larger garments and things. Let's see if we can find some more. I'm going to go to the page just about Gee's Bend in general. It's going to give you a better idea. The Gee's Bend quilt makers are a group of women and their ancestors from Gee's Bend, the area of Alabama's rural Black Belt, whose quilts are celebrated as some of the most significant artistic contributions to American art history. They're so pretty. I love how askew everything is. And it's not out of design. It's not really from design. It's from necessity, how things needed to be done. Sometimes the more constraints you add to art or creativity, the more interesting that end result becomes. So in this case, the constraint was everything had to be done by hand. You didn't have the access to electricity, expensive quilting machines, and things like that. All right, what else? Earning international recognition and acclaim, exhibitions showcasing their work have been held in museums and galleries across the U.S. and beyond. Through Soul's Grown Deep's collection transfer program, G's Bend quilts are now part of the permanent collections of more than 40 museums across 3 continents. The area's rich quilt-making tradition dates back to the 19th century, born out of a need to keep warm in unheated homes during winter months. Due to the scarcity of resources, the majority of quilts well into the 20th century were made out of old work clothes. So a lot of these you'll see if you go to the website are jeans, um, old jeans and khaki kind of fabrics. So old work clothes and other materials such as fertilizer and flour sacks. Flour sacks had these beautiful patterns on them back in the 50s, 60s, maybe even, I think going as far back as 20s through the 60s. Anyway, I'm not a historian, but it was a typical fabric of choice for older quilts because they were pretty sturdy as well. Despite a wider variety of cheap fabric becoming available in the second half of the 20th century, the recycling of old materials continues to be a central tenet of quilting in G's Bend. Yeah, why spend more when you don't have to, or whatever works. And if you have it on hand, it makes more sense to use that than something that you buy elsewhere. I'm going to just add a defining line in between these because it's hard to tell where the squares end otherwise. That's just my own thing. And that's my little drawing for today. I'll see you in the next video. And take a look at the links. You can learn more about G's Bend quilts. There are so many. I think you'll really enjoy them. Bye.